Good morning and welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill coming to you on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, New York, right there in the rolling hills of the beautiful country of Central and Upstate New York, and coming to you as well at their newest location at Heritage Hill North, which is right by the Syracuse Hancock International Airport and centrally located to those of you in North Syracuse, Cicero, Liverpool, coming out of the city of Syracuse, Mattydale, Clay, so many places, Beeville, not too far away from Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, right there at Sweetheart Corners. We look forward to seeing you there tonight. I'm very excited about this, the opportunity to hang out with you tonight and the CNS swimming team for boys and girls swimming. You know that we do our CNS broadcasts on site, on location every month at Heritage Hill North. That's our exclusive home of our CNS broadcasts, and we'll be there tonight, Friday, August 2nd at 6 p.m. with boys and girls swimming. So we look forward to seeing you out there and having some fun on site, on location at Heritage Hill North. We always appreciate Heritage Hill and all the work that they do. So looking forward to seeing you out there tonight. Inside of this broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, you know on Fridays we give you our trio of signature segments inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', bringing you the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver is what the acronym stands for. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And rounding out today's show with some Syracuse Orange football talk and sharing with you my video Q&As so you can hear and see what Fran Brown had to say when I had the opportunity to speak with him here going into fall camp as we edge closer and closer. Now that we're in August, we are just a few weeks away from Fran's first game as a head coach ever, and first game as the head coach of the Syracuse Orange, and that's coming up on Saturday, August 31st at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time inside of the Dome when Syracuse welcomes into town Ohio from the Mid-American Conference, a.k.a. the MAC. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And we thank you for being with us on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Thank you so much for tuning in around the country and the world. The annoying moment of the week is up first.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week, folks. Now, every single week, there's usually a bunch of places to go with this. And this week, there's a few places I want to go. I'm frustrated that, okay, well, a lot of people have had issues with the Olympics, right? A lot of people have had issues with the Olympics and with everything that's gone on. And the sad part is it's caused a lot of people not to watch. And you say, well, Dan, why is that so sad? Well, it's so sad because there's people that have fought their whole lives, trained their whole lives, Emily Mackay being one of them, coming from Binghamton University, to be out there, to have the opportunity to call themselves an Olympian, to represent their country, be it America or be it anywhere. And with the decisions that have been made by a few to be put in front of the many, unfortunately, we've been put in a place now where a lot of people have been turned away. And I do not accept or promote or turn a blind eye to anyone discriminating against someone for race, for ethnicity, for religion, and so on and so forth. There's no place for that. And unfortunately, this is where we are as a society. We are consistently being divided. Now, did I think we were going to be divided by the Olympics and by the powers that be at the Olympics? No. And yet here we are. And my frustration, more than anything else, comes from the fact that why, when so many things are already divisive in our society, so many things, why continue to divide us? Why continue to do this? Why continue to put it in every single nook and cranny of our fantastic world? Why? Why? And that's a question that I continue to ask myself. Why? Why is there a need to constantly be causing issues, constantly be causing fights, constantly be dividing people up? And the only thing that can come to my mind is that the powers that be enjoy it. The powers that be like it. The powers that be want it to happen. Because the powers that be don't want people to be together. Don't want you to connect with each other. Don't want you to find peace with each other. And that to me is frustrating. And that to me is sad. I'm beyond over the constant need to divide and divide and divide and divide and divide until there's nothing left. We live in a society right now where people are separated every day by the media, separated by politics. You remember back in the day, like, you didn't even tell anybody what political party you associated with. You kept it all to yourself, right? You're like, this is how I vote, and, my vote is my own, and I can do what I want, and I can feel good about it. Now there's people that aren't friends anymore. There's family members that don't talk anymore because they vote differently. There's people that no longer can sit and have a sandwich together because they don't vote for the same party. They don't like the same candidate. Do you know how ridiculous that is to me? When I was growing up as a kid, we had differing views. We had people that would vote this way or vote that way, but it didn't change the dynamic of my entire family. It didn't make people in my family hate each other. It didn't make people in my family try to make other people conform to what they're doing. We just lived. So why now is this such a prevalent thing in our society? Why now is it so hard to simply have a conversation with someone who differs from you? We mock Congress and we chastise Congress for not being able to sit in the room and play nice together. But do we not mirror Congress in how we treat each other? If we can't have conversations with people that differ from us, then how can we expect Congress to do that or anybody to do that? I find it very difficult to listen to a human being who is hypocritical. I find it extremely difficult to listen to a human being that cannot hear anybody else's opinion, cannot value anybody else's opinion. If someone differs from them, they lose their mind, they freak out, they start yelling at you. But they want to be understood, right? I haven't met a person that screams and yells and rants and raves that doesn't want someone to not do that to them. I haven't met that person yet. I haven't met a person that has asked you to do all the things that they're not willing to do and like admits that. They just keep going. These are my opinions. You need to respect them. Okay, do you respect my opinions? No. Well, then why do I need to respect yours? And then they start screaming. Then they start yelling. Then they hang up the phone. Then they run away. It's annoying. It's annoying to me that when there's a presidential election year, I have to literally keep a watchful eye. Because people that know me know that I'm not just looking at my neighborhood. I'm not just looking at my town. I'm not just looking at my city. I'm not just looking at my state. I'm literally keeping a close and watchful eye, praying that people around the world are loving each other, are supporting each other, are being good to each other, are listening to each other. Because I care. I care deeply about people. So when it's an election year, I, unfortunately, as a human being in our society, am sitting here wondering what's going to happen next. Who's going to do something stupid? Are we safe? Are we going to continue to be safe? Why do I have to think those things? But I think those things all the time. Because in an election year, I'm waiting for somebody to do something or say something that causes some type of dissension, that causes some type of bigger issue, that causes some cataclysmic thing that we have to try and find our way out of. It's an election. You were looking for a leader. Do you know how many people I've come across that said that they can't believe that these are the two candidates? Jon Stewart, the comedian, has made it very clear that he can't understand why it's the two. And I'll tell you why it's the two. Because people complain and moan, but a lot of people are sheep to the media. The media tells you something and you believe it. And you say, Dan, aren't you the media? And how many times have I told you, you have every right to question me. If I got on this show and I told you that the sky is orange, you should question me. If I told you the sky is orange and you went, okay, Dan, whatever you say, that would be terrifying to me. That level of power to the media to tell you that your reality is not actually what you see, but it's what we're telling you you're seeing, and we're trying to distort your reality. If you allow the media to distort your reality, you have lost yourself. Media's job is to give you a bunch of facts and let you form an opinion, but a lot of media that exists today tells you a bunch of opinion and states that they are facts. Did you hear the difference of what I said? The media's job is to tell you facts and let you form an opinion. But a lot of times the media has an opinion and tells you that it's a fact. This world has gone into this strange place where the Olympic opening ceremonies decides to do something that upsets, frustrates, and saddens millions of people. Could you imagine? And people say, "Oh, Christians just saw it the wrong way." What if it was anti-Muslim? How would the world react? Well, in 2001, they wouldn't care as much. In 2024, if something was anti-Muslim, I feel like they would care more than if it was anti-Christian. But why should we ever care more? I'm not Muslim, but if somebody attacks the religion of Muslims and disrespects them and puts them down and spits on their religion, I'm not for that. When somebody spits on Christianity, I'm not for that. When somebody spits on Judaism, I'm not for that. And so on and so forth. We have leaders in colleges and universities that are supposed to be regarded as the best education you can get in the country, maybe the world, that couldn't say that they stood against anti-Semitism. What human being with a heart, a soul, and a mind could ever be for any type of hate? Any type of hate. Hate is a bad thing. My grandmother told me, G-Mama told me a long time ago. She said, honey, never hate. She said it's too strong a word. She said, you can severely dislike something, but you cannot hate it. You cannot hate it. You could severely dislike it, but you can't hate it. And I never forgot that she said that to me because it was true. One drop of hate will eventually turn your entire body and soul and heart and mind to that hate. So I know that I come on this show and I might not have the same religious beliefs that you have. I might not have the same political beliefs that you have. I might not value the same things that you value. But when I started broadcasting, saying that God exists didn't make people lose their minds. Saying that biology was biology didn't bother people. Now people have an upheaval because of what happened in the Olympics when a man beat up a woman in a sport. Now people are calling that whatever a man. But they didn't call him a man before the fight started. They called him a man after. Well, some people called him a man before. And now we're like, wow, a man punched a woman in the face. And then we see the pictures of her sad, and we see that she might have broken her nose. And now we want to do something about it. But I told y'all months and months and months ago, go check the tape, on the 50th anniversary of Title IX. The 50th anniversary of Title IX, which allows women to have some type of equality in sports. On the 50th anniversary of Title IX, men are playing women's sports. As we celebrate women's 50 years of honoring women's sports, we dishonor them on their 50th anniversary by letting men play their sport. And there's some people listening right now that are like, Dan, I don't like this. And I don't care. Don't listen to my show. Don't listen to it. Don't watch it. If you think a man should play a woman's sport, don't ever listen to my show again. Because you're nuts. You are nuts. And for people to be shamed into keeping their mouth shut, these idiots are talking all the time. And when I'm saying idiot, what am I saying? People that have this opinion that men should play women's sports, if a woman played football, she'd get knocked out. And people say, well, how do you know that, Dan? That's you're being a bigot or you're being... No, I'm not. It's simple reality. If a woman played football, she'd get knocked the heck out. I mean, that's reality. And if a woman got knocked out on the field, we'd be treating the person that knocked her out like Ike Turner. But she decided to play the sport, and he's playing the sport. It's not Ike Turner and Tina. It's a sport. In football, you're supposed to knock each other down. And in boxing, you're supposed to knock each other out. So if Mike Tyson put a wig on and said he was Michaela Tyson, would you let him fight in the Olympics against women? Would you let Mike Tyson do it? No, it sounds crazy. Then why did this happen? Oh, well, because... No, stop. Men should not be playing women's sports. What was the swimmer that was like one of the worst male swimmers and then transitioned and then became the number one swimmer in women's sports? You think that's a fluke? Like, people are frustrated with the Olympics now because of what we're watching right now. People are frustrated now because we saw it. Why does this have to happen? Why do we have to push ideals that make no sense to people and push it and try to scare people into silence? We'll cancel you. Well, we won't come to your business. We won't shop in your store if you don't believe every crazy thing that we say. And then something stupid like this happens, and now people are speaking out against it. But why weren't you speaking out against it before? I was talking about Title IX for a while. I've been covering women's sports since I started my career. If I was at Marywood University and the center on the men's basketball team was playing on the women's basketball team, he'd have 100 points a game. Not because women are bad at basketball. Women are great at basketball, but they're not built the same. When a man claims that he transitioned and goes into a women's sport and becomes a number one swimmer and shoots up 200 spots, that is not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. And I sat here this morning and I said, am I going to even talk about this? Because people are going to try to cancel me and they're going to get mad at me. Shut up. Shut up. You are the reason why this world is on fire. These people that are pushing these ideals and this anti-God and this sadistic, twisted stuff. Stop. Okay? Believe in me. I want to do whatever I want to do. You can't do whatever you want to do, okay? Society states, yes, you can dream your dreams and be whatever you want to be in life, but saying you can do whatever you want to do with no fence on that would say that you can murder. It would say that you can steal. If you say I could do whatever I want to do and there was no rules, regulations, or law, then do whatever I want to do would be I could rape, I could murder, I could shoot people from a tree. Like, no. No. I mean, look at our society right now. Look at our society right now. I support and love every soul, whether it's in a dog or a tree or a cat or a human being. I love and support every soul. But we have to admit that some of these souls might be lost. And the Olympics that already is begging people to watch it, and Olympic sports already don't get the love that they should have, in my opinion. I'm doing a swimming show tonight. And how many people are doing swimming shows? And that frustrates me. That we don't see enough of that out there. People care about swimming, and they care about soccer, and they care about fencing, and so on and so forth when the Olympics are on, but why don't they care all the time? And I spend my year covering all different sports, not just the ones that people are used to seeing, because I feel like everybody should have a voice. And here's the Olympics, shows up Paris. By the way, France, I just want to let you know something. If not for America, y'all would be easily speaking German. You would probably be a European parking lot. So I think France needs to tread lightly on the fact that overall in history, if you actually look at history books anymore, because some people are trying to throw them in the fire, which sounds very Nazi Germany to me, but just my opinion. And because when you try to change history, I feel like the way that teachers teach nowadays, not all teachers, some, thank God, some, not all, hopefully less and less every day. Hopefully the ones doing this quit. But there are some teachers out there that I feel like would tell you Hitler's not a bad person. He was just misunderstood. That's the way that like teaching is going these days. Could you imagine sending your kid or your grandkid or your nephew or your niece to school and they come home and they're like for Halloween, I want to be Hitler because I just learned about him and I think he's a pretty cool guy. And then you're like, what are you talking about? And then you look at the teachers, you look at like the book or what the teacher's teaching, and you look at the syllabus and you see all this like positive stuff about how great of a man Hitler was and how he was misunderstood. That would be terrifying, you know? But you talk about the Middle East, death to America, and all these things that people say, right? And what they're taught in schools, And we thought that that was nuts years ago, but are we not starting to do that now? But we're doing it against our own country. We're not doing it against other countries. I mean, I'm looking at defacing of stuff in Washington, D.C. with terrorist stuff on monuments in our country. You know, and I sit here and I never thought that in 2 decades plus of broadcasting that I could sit in my studio and say, if I'm against terrorism, I'm going to offend somebody. If I think a man shouldn't play a woman's sport, I'm going to offend somebody. Like, this is so idiotic that I can't even fathom the fact that it's coming out of my mouth right now, that that broadcasters are scared. There's people that have literally left huge broadcasting companies because they were done pushing this disgusting narrative. We're sexualizing children now. California is trying to pass a law that parents have no right to know the decisions their children make in school. Every single one of you should be terrified. But if you shut up and do nothing, it's going to happen. Having anybody cheer death to America in America, those 3 words together in that order make me want to throw up. Like when I just said it, when I just talked about, you know, the stuff in D.C., it made me sick to my stomach to utter the words. And they're not my words, but just to utter those. Like, ew. I wouldn't cheer death to any country, right? There's good people all around the world. And just because they might be overrun by some ruthless dictator doesn't mean there's not good people within that society. There's so many problems. There's so many problems. And the Olympics is supposed to be a time where people pay attention to sports that they don't give respect to most of the time. And do I want people to watch swimming once every few years? No. But it's better than watching it never. And a lot of people have boycotted the Olympics because of the opening ceremony that to many mocked the Last Supper of Jesus Christ and showed one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, death, running right towards you. Folks, some of you have read the Bible, some of you have not. Now, the Old Testament of the Bible is also the same book, the Torah, that Judaism follows. Now, Christianity has the Old and the New Testament. In the New Testament, the final book is the book of Revelation. If you want to terrify yourself, read the book. If you want to see how eerie this world looks to fitting the final book, take a look at it. But why should I be... This is what I don't understand about society today. The people that say, you have to believe me or I'll cancel you, you have to believe me or I'll scream at you, you have to believe me or I'll spit on you, those same people say in the same breath, I don't have to believe you. And you can't cancel me and you can't spit on me and you can't yell at me. They literally tell you everything you have to do for them and promise you that they'll do none of those things back. That is a one-sided relationship, and in any walk of life, work, friend, family, romantic, a one-sided relationship is a terrible relationship, and it fails 100% of the time. So anyone asking you to have a one-sided relationship, walk away from that nut job real quick. I am outrageously frustrated that my mother and my father are in a planet right now where men are playing women's sports and punching women in the face. I am appalled by any mockery of Jesus Christ. which has become a normal thing. I mean, the KKK has been setting crosses on fire on people's front yards for how many years? And fast forward to now. And people say, well, I'm against the Catholic Church because it forces me to believe. And I haven't seen the Catholic Church force anybody to believe anything. The Catholic Church never forced me to believe anything. But here's a thought. If God exists, just go with me for a minute. If God exists, you just mocked his son. If God exists, you just told him he doesn't understand biology, anatomy, and science. If God exists, you have set the representation of his son on fire. If God exists, there's a lot of people on this planet that got some splaining to do. When I do the annoying moment of the week, and I sit here and I have this conversation with you, you're free to have your opinion, I'm free to have mine. But why should I be told by a bunch of people, we're going to talk, you shut up, and if you talk, you can talk as long as you agree with us? That sounds like control. That sounds like authoritarianism. That sounds like dictatorship. Listen to me. I don't have to listen to you. Tell me what I want to hear only. If everything I'm saying sounds like a total lie, believe it. And when the truth refutes everything I say, don't tell me. Those people need Jesus more than most. We all need Jesus. Those people need Jesus. Those people probably need a psychiatrist. And so you say, Dan, what do you mean by those people? People that spread lies. People that are distorting reality. People that tell you that they want everything, but they're not willing to give you the same things that they want. People that speak to you like an authoritarian dictator. People that tell you that your opinions don't matter unless you conform to theirs. Would you put up with that in your own family? Somebody saying you can believe whatever you want to believe as long as it's exactly what I believe, and if you don't believe it, then you can go to your room and shut up because I hate you? Would you take that from your family? I hope not. Then why would you take it from a stranger on Twitter? A few years ago, the people that are screaming the loudest right now, we thought were crazy people. Now we're afraid of those crazy people. Well, crazy people should be afraid of themselves. Because to live in a world where we're celebrating women by letting men play their sports, it's not celebrating women. It's destroying women. And the people that should be loudest about this right now are women. Why am I being loud and a woman's being quiet? I love women's sports. I've covered them from the beginning of my career. I covered them when people probably laughed at me for doing it. Why is a man covering a women's sport? I was told when I started at my first job at ESPN in Scranton, Pennsylvania, you'll never get women to listen to your show. I've had women listen to my show from the beginning of my career. I've had women supporting my job and what I do since Marywood University starting MU Courtside. Well, how'd you get them, Dan? I told people this. You want to know a really easy way to have men and women and children listen to your show? Respect people and treat them as equals. It's not hard. And cover their sports. People are like, how do you get women to listen to your show? I said, I cover their sports and I respect them. It's not difficult. It's not a game I'm playing. It's not a formula I'm manipulating somebody with. I care about women. I care about men. I care about children. And I live in a society where if a teacher stands at the front of a room and says, ladies, gentlemen, and kids, she's disrespecting someone in the room. I'm sorry. Is there a turtle in the room that we didn't address? Is there a cat sitting in a litter box that we didn't address? Is there an elephant in the room? There is an elephant in the room. It's not an elephant, but it thinks it is. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. We'll be back right after this inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business. I had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there was something about owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York, to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience, it's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us inside of the Heritage Hill Studios every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Heritage Hill is there for you in the country and the city, so wherever you are, they are here in upstate New York. Heritage Hill Brew House on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, out on Palladino Farms. That looks like you literally walk into a painting. And Heritage Hill North, which is amidst all of the hustle and bustle of life. I mean, when you're North Syracuse, Liverpool, Cicero, Clay, Baldwinsville, coming out of the city of Syracuse, Mattydale, it's right there. It's so easy to get to. So get over to Heritage Hill North, the newest location on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York at Sweetheart Corner. And we'll be there tonight. Very excited about this. Always looking forward to it. We'll be there tonight with CNS. We're every month on site at Heritage Hill North with CNS. It's our exclusive home of our CNS on-site broadcast with the North Stars of Cicero, North Syracuse. And tonight is boys and girls swimming, which I'm very excited about, welcoming them for the first time ever to Heritage Hill North. We'll see you today, August 2nd at 6 p.m. Looking forward to it. So, we've given you the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Now it's time to go into lead, which always seems to link back to the annoying moment of the week. And lead topic today is why conform? Why conform? Why? Because someone yelled at me. Well, okay. Is that all it takes? Why conform? That's a question I'm asking. Because it's a question that I think is very pertinent to the times. Just because someone's telling you that something that you think is crazy is not crazy, why are you conforming to it? Well, because I'm scared. Fear's not a good reason to do anything. Right? Why conform to what's being forced upon you? Why can't you be yourself? Why can't you make your own decisions? Why can't you... Now, people on the other side that are spitting crazy stuff would say, okay, Dan, well, If I don't have to conform, then you don't have. This is how when I'm sitting here on the show, I've learned over the years that we live in a society where when someone is talking in logic and rationale and they give a reason for something, my head's like, yeah, but the crazy side can use that reason too. They can say, why should I conform to wearing clothes in society, Dan? Well, because you're not supposed to be naked in society. You know what I mean? So I know that there are the crazy people out there that say, well, if you don't have to conform, then I don't have to conform. And I guess I'm speaking to them today. I'm speaking to everybody today. Because there's certain things in life that we're not that are not supposed to be happening. Right? There's certain things in life that, like, you're not supposed to be stealing, you're not supposed to be murdering, there's certain things you're not supposed to be doing, right? People should frown upon, but I feel like we're in a society now where if the majority of the media, which is owned by one side, said, don't wear clothes anymore, nobody could tell you it's weird. Go into the grocery store totally naked, it's totally fine. If anybody gives you any type of issue with it, start crying and say you have rights. I don't think we're that far away from that. Think about it. We're not that far away from that. But, and the people that would say being naked in society, that's weird. It's been weird forever. That's crazy, right? Remember there was a time in society where if someone dressed up like a raccoon and went out into a park and tried seducing people, they would get arrested and put in a straitjacket. Now they're just expressing themselves. Isn't that funny now? We call everything expressing itself. You're just expressing yourself. No, some people are nuts. If you dress up like a raccoon and it's not Halloween and you're at Onondaga Lake Parkway climbing a tree is a giant raccoon, I'm going to call the police. I hope that they arrest you, and I hope that they bring you to a psychiatrist, and I hope that they figure out why you're wearing a raccoon suit, and I hope that you stop. Because there's absolutely no reason that is good to be in public wearing a raccoon costume unless you are in your backyard wearing a raccoon costume, trying to get the raccoon out of your backyard by showing the raccoon that you as a fellow raccoon like to leave the backyard, and you're hoping the raccoon will follow you because it'll follow something that it recognizes. That is the only good time to wear a raccoon suit. Halloween when you're Rocket Raccoon, and when you dress up like a raccoon in your backyard to try and make the raccoon believe that you are the alpha raccoon leading it away from the backyard. Those are the only two times. Not on the subway. Not at a Fortune 500 company. Not in the elevator. Not at the restaurant. You know, nowadays, I mean, what do they say? My niece and my nephew told me that kids go to school now and they call themselves furries and they wear tails and nobody can tell them to stop. If I put a tail on and I wore it to school, my mom would be crying and my dad would be calling either a priest or a psychiatrist. They'd be like, what happened to our son? I want to wear a tail. Why? Because it makes me feel like myself. Why? Now, have I made jokes before that we have tailbones, so we should have tails? Yeah. I have, because I like Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog, and he could get his tail to spin, and it made a helicopter, and he could fly anywhere he wanted to, as long as he could spin his tail. And I liked the opportunity and the thought that I could fly anywhere without having to get on a plane. Fast forward to today's America and people wearing tails in school and like they wear cat ears and stuff. And you're not supposed to say anything to them because you don't want them to feel out of place. See, but that's how it starts. It's one person dressing up and me going, what is that? And them going, you can't say anything. And then another person does it. And now it's not just a cat. Now it's a moose. Now two kids are dressing up together to be a moose. One's the back end of the moose, bless their heart. And one's the front end of the moose. I hope it's not chili day. And, and then it just keeps going. See, because this is the thing. This is how you change society. You inject it with a little bit of not normal. Like, this is not normal. This is not what you're used to. You inject it with a little bit of that. Then you inject it with a little bit more. Then you inject it with little by little. Small doses. Not big doses. Small doses. Until eventually you get to a point where you've changed society. Because people go, oh, well, you know, that's weird, but it's not hurting anybody. Oh, well, that's weird, but it's not a big deal. Oh, well, that's strange. And then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, everyone's dressed as a cat and I'm the only one that isn't, and they're staring at me. And now I feel like I need to dress up like a cat just to fit in so nobody hurts me. And now all of a sudden you're living your life in fear with a bunch of human cats licking themselves, staring at you, which is terrifying. It seems like that would be a movie that we would see in the theaters. I don't even want to picture that now. I'm picturing a cafeteria with all these cat people looking at you, me, going, why aren't you a cat yet? And I'm going, why are you? You know, and here's the thing. Common sense, when you talk about not conforming, common sense can destroy most of this. If I had a daughter that came home and she said, Dad, I'm a cat, I would say, no, you're not. She would say, yes, I am. I would say, no, you're not. And I would go, you know what? Why am I talking to you? If you're a cat, you wouldn't be able to have this conversation with me because essentially what I would be hearing is I wouldn't be hearing I'm a cat and then me say, no, you're not. I'd be hearing meow and I'd be going, no, you're not. And she'd be go meow, meow. And I would go, no. And she'd go, meow. So here's my thing. If you're a cat and you're at my dinner table, get off my dinner table because the cat's not allowed at the dinner table. So get off the seat, sit on the floor in your litter box where you just pooped. Sit with your poop and I will feed you. Well, Dan, you can't do that. That's inhumane. It's not inhumane. She's a cat. She said she was a cat. And I'm going to open up some kitty litter and I'm going to put it next to you. But, Dad, I want steak. I'm sorry. I heard, well, I don't feed steak to my cat. It's not good for cats. Here's your kitty litter. Give me your phone. Why, Dad? It's my phone. I'm sorry, babe. Do you hear? I'd say to my wife, do you hear? That's all I hear. Give me your phone. Cats don't have thumbs. You can't text. Dad, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go to my friend's house. Cats don't drive. Whatever. I'm going to my room. Goes upstairs. There's nothing in her room but a little bed and another litter box. That would make my daughter stop being a cat real freaking quick. Because she ain't going to live like that. I take her phone away, her car away, feed her kitty litter, and make her sit in a litter box. She going to stop being a cat. She might try to hold out for a few days to prove that she's right, but she going to stop being a cat. So, you know what I mean? It's like, sometimes you got to go, okay, you know what? Lesson time. I'm going to teach you a lesson, right? That's what parents used to do. They used to teach us lessons. They weren't afraid of their kids. They used to teach us lessons. You tell your mom and dad, oh, this house is stupid. Y'all don't make enough money. Billy's got a big old house, da-da-da-da-da. Your parents go, okay, you know what? Do what they used to do before they had houses. Go sleep in a tent outside. What about the food? You got to catch it. What about the water? Hope it rains. Put a bowl outside. What if there's a skunk? Hope you don't spray the tent. You have your kids right back in the house. How do I pitch a tent, Dad? I don't know. You're going to have to learn. Parents used to take children rebelling and saying, okay, you know what? If this is what you are, then that's how I'm going to treat you. That's how I'm going to treat you. And sadly, in the great state of California, they're trying to destroy the relationship between a parent and a child. There is only demonic in that. There is only the devil dancing on that. To take society and have society raise your children and detach them from their parents. We can't let that happen. So why conform? Why conform? Why do you feel like you have to do what people are telling you to do and screaming at you to do? Number one, would they do the same for you? Probably not. And number two, how does anything come out of people screaming in your face to do it? If someone screams in my face to do something, even if I agree with it, I would go, whoa, 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 this is not how you talk to me. This is not how you converse with me. This is not how I have conversations. Yelling doesn't solve anything. I know that from being yelled at, and I know from yelling in my life, it doesn't solve anything. You get upset and you start yelling, ain't nobody listening. And so for me, I'm sad that people feel like they need to conform, because I feel like a lot of people are conforming out of fear. Some people are conforming out of love, saying, okay, well, this person obviously wants someone to support them, and I love people, so. But if you conform and you conform and you conform and you conform and you conform, you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to recognize the world. I wake up every day and I keep waiting on the world. What is the song by John Mayer? Waiting on the world to change. You know, I keep waiting for the pendulum to swing back, right? From all this crazy stuff that we've been seeing and all this hatred and all this negativity and divisiveness. I keep praying to wake up and see the world good again, see the world loving again, see the world helping each other again. You know, we said when 9/11 happened that we were never going to forget, but a lot of people forgot. We said we were going to be together, but we're not together. You know, people say all these big old things and why does it have to be tragedy? I was just talking to my buddy about this. I go, you know, I have people in my family that are really just hateful people. They're just hateful. And there's not even a reason to be hateful, because every time they hate on you and you love them back, they just keep hating. And you're like, okay, so apparently this has nothing to do with me, because when you treat me like garbage and I try to be the bigger person, you continue to treat me like garbage. So obviously this is just you. So when you look at this stuff and you look at life and you're waiting on the world to change. You're waiting on the pendulum to swing back. You're waiting on people to just be kind to each other again. But that's not always the case. It's not always the case. And what was I saying? Tragedy. You know, I was saying to myself, I'm like, my aunt treats me like garbage. My cousins treat me like garbage. But someone just died in the family. And death and weddings seem to bring people together. So maybe seeing someone in our family have no more time left on this earth, and now they're back in heaven, maybe seeing that body will make them appreciate their family more. No. Okay, the next person died. No. Okay, the next person died. No. And then you start feeling like, are they desensitized? Do they think that body right there is like a fake body? Like, but see, now when you talk about conforming, like I just went to a funeral a few days ago, and to me, it was like feeling desensitized, like being in the room with my family and being like, there's people in this room that treat me like crap. And I've never crossed these people. They just treat me like crap. They treat my mom like crap. When I'm in there, I feel like I'm my mom's bodyguard. I feel like I'm literally protecting my mother from shots being fired at a funeral. Figurative shots. You know, like when I stand by my mom, in my head, I'm like, I'm not leaving her side. I'm being with her. And then if I'm talking to someone, she's talking to somebody else, it's like, where's my mom? Is she okay? Does she need me? Is she looking over here? I feel like I'm my mom's bodyguard. That's not fair to my mom. My mom didn't do anything. What, because my mom didn't conform? Because my mom didn't kiss the ring? I come from being a kid, being asked to conform when I was a little boy, when I was like 7 years old. And I fought it. And it stressed me out. I was under so much stress as a 7-year-old. Now that I look back on it, I'm like, I cannot believe some members of my family would put that type of hate and negativity and bad energy into a child. I cannot even believe that they would put that much stress on a person, let alone a kid. But I'm 38 years old. It's 31 years later, and that person has not changed. They are still mean. They are still evil. And if you don't kiss the ring, they're going to stay that way. And why do I have to conform? Why does my mom have to conform? A person that thinks they're God, I don't want to associate with those people. Because I don't want to be standing before God next to that person going, hey, someone's trying to be you, and I think it's great. I don't think it's great. If you can't tuck your tail between your legs and apologize sometimes, shame on you. And if you spit on good people, shame on you. Because I have not met a person who is mean, evil, disrespectful, and rude that hasn't wanted someone to be nice to them. Everybody wants people to be nice to them. Even the really freaking mean people want people to be nice to them. The meanest people that scream at someone at the coffee shop still want you to give them their coffee in a timely manner and be nice to them, even though they're yelling at you. It's amazing in society. Everybody wants to be treated right, but not everybody treats people right. Everybody wants to be heard, but not everybody wants to listen. Everybody wants to be understood, but not everybody seeks to understand. You cannot form a workable, positive, progressively moving forward society if you have only one-way streets. You can't. You can't. If you only have one-way streets, think about it, you're never going to be able to get around the city. Because it's just going to keep going one way, and then you're going to go to turn and you can't, and turn and you can't, and turn and you can't. So we're going to be on this endless loop together until people start realizing if you ask for it, you need to give it. And if you're not willing to give it, then stop expecting people to give it to you, because we don't owe each other anything. Right? See you, Jerry. God bless with everything at the doctor. I pray it all goes well, and I know God's got your back. I love you, brother. So, just think about that, okay? I never thought that, I hear people talk about their crazy family stories, and you see it on television. I never thought that I would have a crazy family story. I never thought I'd have people in my family that were downright just mean and like harassing to people, just evil to people. I never thought I would have that in my family. I would hear it from other people, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how do you have a family member that's like that? How do you have a family member that does that? How do you have a family member that refuses to change? And then I look around me and I'm going, oh, I got that. And then you start telling people stories about your family, and they're like, the hell's wrong with these people? I don't think that they fully understand. The only people that buy into what they're trying to feed is themselves. They're the only ones eating. It's like they're throwing up their own food and eating it again. No one's eating it. No one thinks you're normal except for you. And you've caused people in your family to have fear to tell you how they feel, me included. You've tried to inject fear into me. That I can't look you in the eye and say, I don't hate you. I don't wish bad on you. I actually pray for you all the time. I'm just disappointed in the person that you are. I'm disappointed in who you've chosen to be. You're closer to the devil than you are to God, in my opinion, because God doesn't treat people this way. But I still pray for you. And when I see you, I give you a kiss and a hug, and When I see you, I ask how your family's doing. But I know you don't care about my family. And that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it's your life. It's your life. It's what you've chosen to do. That's you. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that human beings that actually care about each other and love each other and value each other, we're not going to put up with this stuff. Like, we think you're a joke. We think you're a joke. We think what you're doing is a joke. I value your soul. I want you to make it to heaven. I want to see you there when you're 150 and then I'm 150. Live here for a really long time, have a great life, die in our sleep of old age, long time down the road. Just be nice to people, man. Just be nice to people. I don't conform to my family saying kiss the ring. I don't conform to media saying kiss the ring. I don't conform to the government saying kiss the ring. I still think one of the heroes of this world is the young girl in the school at Columbine when the guy held a gun to her head and said, "Do you believe in God?" And she said yes, not knowing if he was going to shoot her or not. And he did shoot her. But she died not, even if she was afraid, she died with the courage to say God. She died with the courage to say, I'm a believer. So, if Jesus can die for you, if the man at the Trump rally can jump in front of his family and die for them, literally, they're alive because of what he did, because of him. If you can look in the face of danger and say, I believe, then good for you, and you're going in the right direction. A lot of people will say whatever they need to say to stay alive, and that will dirty a soul. When you start conforming to things you don't believe in out of fear, out of not wanting to ruffle feathers, society changes. I don't want to ruffle feathers. I don't want to ruffle feathers. There's a lot of people that don't like, whenever somebody says to me, you start dating, right? And you meet a new girl and she goes, I don't like confrontation. And I look at her and I'm like, I don't know if there's any girl that I've ever taken on a date that told me that she likes confrontation. I don't think anybody likes confrontation. I don't think men, women, children, I don't think anybody likes confrontation. I use dating as an example because, like, when you're dating, like, that's a stranger, right? And you're getting to know them and they'll go, I don't like confrontation. And I'm like, I don't think anybody does. But we're all going to be confronted with something at some point, and you can either stand or run. And when you run, that sits with you forever, man. When you run, that sits. That sits on you forever, man. Why did I run, man? Why did I not say what I believe in? Why didn't I speak up? That's why when I came on the show this morning, I was like, oh, man, like, I don't conform to this stuff, but these people are crazy, and they're going to scream at me if they hear me say that I don't conform to it. And then I thought to myself, does God rule my life or do people? Because if people rule my life, I might as well quit now. And I ain't going to quit now. So, keep being you. Keep being good to people and loving people and trying to make positive change. And stop conforming to things that you don't believe in. Because the little that you give and the little that you give and the little that you give and the little that you give, you're going to wake up, this world's going to be totally different. Because if enough people say, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, the world's going to flip upside down, and we're not going to know how we got here. Oh, I know how we got here. Because we didn't want to ruffle feathers, because we didn't want to bother anybody, and because they were just taking a little. Remember when Hitler did that? Remember when Hitler took a little bit, took a little bit, took a little bit, and then all of a sudden, World War II. Look at what Putin's doing now. Took a little bit, took a little bit, took a little bit. History is doomed to repeat itself if you don't learn from it and do something about it. Go back in history. It repeats itself. history constantly, it's God going, did you learn the lesson? Did you learn the lesson? Did you learn the lesson? God does it to me all the time in dating. God will go, this is what you want. This is what you told me you're looking for. You told me you're willing to wait for it. And I sent you somebody that doesn't have this. Are you going to take her out? Are you going to take her out? Are you going to take her out? Oh, you took her out. Why'd you take her out? You said that's not what you wanted. Is that what you want? Because you told me that's not what you wanted. And if you want me to give you what you want, you got to show me that you're willing to wait for it, and you got to show me that you're a man of your word. If you keep going against your word, Daniel, I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm going to keep asking you to learn. So don't sit here and conform because you're afraid of what Twitter's going to say. Because you're afraid of what TikTok's going to say. Because you're afraid of what people are going to think when you walk in the room. The same people that are telling you that you're not allowed to have an opinion on their life and you're not allowed to disagree with them, those same people are the ones that disagree with you and tell you how to live your life. And when you start to realize that there's something wrong with these people, that they're so one-sided, when you realize that there's something wrong with the selfishness that has consumed them, you stop caring. I don't know. I have never, as a man, known what was in style. Ever. I don't know what suits are in style. I don't know what shirts are in style. I don't know what hairstyle is in style. I don't know what facial hair is in style because I'm me. I'm Daniel Michael Justin Tortora. I have a goatee because I want it. I shave my head down because I like it. I'm wearing a Transformers t-shirt because I felt like it. I have a Damon Stoudemire poster because he's my favorite basketball player. I don't care what you think about that. I do a superpowered pop show where I get to be a big kid and talk about Spider-Man. I don't care if you laugh at that. Because I'm still going to love Spider-Man. And I'm still going to go see the movies, whether you laugh at me or not. So, my reality is knowing the fact that if we conform and conform and conform and conform to things that we don't believe in, society will change. We won't know how. We won't know what to do with it. And we won't know who to blame. And unfortunately, you have to blame yourself. Because if you stand here and say nothing and do nothing while society crumbles, you're complicit in the crime. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. If we want to make positive change, we need to start speaking up. If you don't agree with something, you need to start speaking up. That's reality. That is reality. Remember when you used to write your name, like on every test, you would write your name and you would write your sex, male or female? It was like the easiest thing in the world to do. This is my name, this is my gender. Now those things are up for debate every day. You used to get, 200 points for spelling your name correctly on the SATs? Now everything's up for debate. How do you have a society where the simple introductory pieces of a test are not simple answers anymore? And people are afraid to talk about this because they don't want to offend anybody. But if it doesn't make sense to you, you have the right to question it. Respectfully, kindly, and with compassion. And as I've said a billion times, if somebody lives a life that I don't live and I don't understand it, but they needed me, I'm there. I might not understand this, I might not understand that, but if you come to me crying, needing a hug, and someone to be there for you, I'm there. I grew up around racism. I'm not racist because I didn't conform, right? So when people are like, well, Dan, you don't conform to men playing women's sport. No, I don't conform to that. I also don't conform to racism. I also don't conform to sexism. I also don't conform to women's sports being on the back burner to men's sports. Ask the Lemoyne women's basketball team how many games I saw last season. Ask them if I got some incentive to come to the game. There's nothing that said I had to come to a game. I didn't get anything by going. I just got to see a team that I respect and love. And there were days where I was exhausted. There are days when the weather was bad. There were days where I needed to sleep. There were days where I needed to pack for an upcoming trip. And I would still go. Because I care about it. So, me not conforming, I believe if you believe in God, at some point in your life, you have to stand against conforming to something. Because the more you become secular, the less you become close to God. There's a reason why they say you're either of God or you're of the world. And people go, well, of course I'm of the world, Dan. I'm on the planet right now. Yeah, you're here. But what if this planet was dying and you had to go to Mars? Then you just trade teams? If I'm on God's team, I'm wherever God goes. I'm on the International Space Station. I'm on Mars. I'm on a planet in a different solar system. I'm on Earth. If I go with him, I'm with him all the time. Earth can die. I'm still God's. Right? I want Earth to live forever. And I believe it will, because we say that prayer, right? Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, a world without end. Amen. But I'm God's kid. I'm not Earth's kid. I'm not the world's kid. A loss of faith destroys society. And if you don't believe me, look at society. The more and more that America has tried to run from God, the more and more sensibility and goodness and common courtesy and rationale and common sense have run from this earth. We now don't know the answer to simple questions. Simple questions. Sex, male, female. We don't know the answer anymore. We're telling God that he did it wrong. You put me in the wrong body. You're telling the creator of everything that he goofed. He's not human. Well, Dan, what about Jesus Christ? Divine and human. Do you know many people that have died and risen from the dead besides Jesus? I don't know any. So, I mean, I've always spoken about God on my show. But we live in a society now that wants you to be afraid to do it, while they sit here and put satanic stuff in their music and in their movies and in their TV shows. Do you realize I'm not going to name the app, but it rhymes with Schmizni. And if you go on Schmizni Plus, there's satanic movies on there. I've always thought of that company as being kid-friendly. There's a movie literally named Satanic. There's more than one reference to Satan on that app. In the Santa Claus TV show with Tim Allen, who's conservative, there's a massive reference to Satan at the North Pole that comes from the elves. So, if we don't speak up, folks, we're just throwing a match on a fire that's already lit. So why be afraid to speak up? What do they say? If you do things with a pure heart and good intentions, you have nothing to apologize for? So do things with a pure heart and good intentions and stop apologizing to the crazy people that are trying to set the world on fire. We'll take a step aside for a fast break inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, found on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave, is your one-stop sports card and hobby card shop. Head off to GG Cards and Breaks Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Sundays from 10 to 5, you will find hockey, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, all sport, AEW, UFC, as well as Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, while supplies last. They have packs, they have boxes, they have singles, they have graded cards, they have autograph cards, numbered cards, rookie patch autos, relic cards, and they're the only place that I know that has Major League Baseball, National Basketball Association, and National Football League teams, every single team in their own box. You can go and sift through them all. Where else can I go as a Diamondback, Jaguar, and Raptor fan and find cards of all of my teams right here in Central New York? GG Cards and Breaks, the attention to detail, the customer service, the care, the love for what they do, being big kids, having fun in the sports card world, loving to rip boxes, love to see what they find, love to have their own collection, share that with people. There's something about the excitement, the kid spirit, the attention to detail, and the work that they do behind the scenes to make this my favorite sports card and hobby card shop by far. Go to GG Cards and Breaks today. If you've never collected before, it's a great time to start. And if you have collected, it's a great time to continue. 639 Delmar Place, Syracuse, New York. GG Cards and Breaks. We'll see you there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, it is now time for the top dog of the week. Top dog of the week, baby girl. That's what it is. And so I don't know what made me do that, but I feel good, and it's Friday. So my top dog of the week are my construction workers. Those are my top dogs of the week, my construction workers. Dan, why are you saying construction workers? Construction causes for lanes to be closed, and it makes more time for my trips, and I can't even put it. But those construction workers, they're not trying to make your time to go to work delayed. They're doing a job a lot of people don't want to do. And they put their lives on the line every single day. I'm sorry. I drove through a construction site within the last couple of months, and these guys were close to the left lane, and the left lane was the only lane that was open, and I was driving probably faster than I should have been, and I'm I was driving faster than I should have been. Not like going 60 in a 20. I was just driving faster than I should have been. And I was coming through, and they wanted me to like slow down, and then I didn't know what was happening, and it looked like they were looking down at something, and their feet were like kind of almost in the left lane, and they're like spraying stuff, and I'm like, do I stop? Do I not stop? What do I do? And I should have just slowed down and looked at them and been like, where do I go? And I felt bad. I feel bad to this day about it. So I'm sorry to those construction workers. If you remember a car that drove through there too quick, they put their lives on the line every single day because they're literally right next to traffic. And it's hot as you know what outside right now. It's so hot outside right now. It's ridiculously hot outside right now. So, I mean, think about down in Florida, it's hot like all the dang time. And down in Texas, it's hot a lot. And out in California, they're dealing with all that stuff, right? So, I mean, think about what these men and women go through. The elements, the rain, the heat. So, yes, you might have gone by a construction site where there was nobody there. Yes, you might have seen a bunch of lane closures and then not seen what they were working on. Yes, you might have seen them stopping and sitting and talking to each other. But those sites still have people working on them. Those sites still have people putting in a tremendous amount of work. And you might have come by at their lunchtime and not seen them work for 9 hours and seen them go through all of that, you know, all of the elements and lifting the stuff and everything that they have to do. I mean, I still to this day at 38 years old look at roads and I marvel at humanity going, how in the heck did we come up with this stuff? Like the ingenuity of it. Like if God didn't put these ideas in people's heads and, you know, if humanity didn't figure out how to do this, we would all be on grass, dirt roads driving through cornfields and stuff. Like this is crazy to me, you know? And so, I mean, I commend construction workers. They're my top dogs of the week. Again, they're right by traffic. They put their lives on the line because somebody could be driving through and not be driving slow enough or know exactly where to go. And unfortunately, like myself, and I feel bad, and I hope that they accept my apology. I hope God accepts my apology, and I'm sorry to everyone involved because we can all be better. We can all be better, you know. And I just think we need to honor our construction workers because, again, they put themselves in the elements. They put themselves in the heat. They're in harm's way. They're right by traffic. I mean, their workstation is a lot of times a highway where people are going 50, 60, 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. So I just want to shout out the construction workers. I don't know what the I-81, I got to do my research. It doesn't make sense to take out a highway. When I'm down in Florida, when they have too much traffic, they just build a highway on top of a highway or next to a highway. So this like reality of my hometown getting rid of part of a highway with there seemingly being more cars on the road doesn't make any sense to me. But again, I don't know enough about it, so I'm going to do my research. But those construction workers, they got a job to do, and they're doing the job, right? Some of those people are like, I don't know what the hell this is for or why they're taking this out of here, but I like doing construction or I want to get my paycheck. I want to do this and that. So, you know, they're out there doing their job, and it's not an easy job to do. Think about it. Yesterday, 87 degrees. It felt hotter. The air feels like you can't breathe, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to get out of the car to go in the grocery store. And these people are standing in that heat all day long, carrying stuff, putting stuff together. I saw a ton of construction down in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're like walking across the street, carrying, you know, these materials and stuff. So shout out to the construction workers. I hope that God gives you the courage, the strength, mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, everything, spiritually. I hope you have the strength. I hope you have the stamina, the endurance. I hope you get a nice tan, and I hope you know you're appreciated. God bless you all. My top dogs of the week are construction workers all over the world trying to do good things. for all of us. Proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. You can find Canine Camp Dog Daycare on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, right across from BJ's and right off of Bridge Street, 228 Old Bridge Street. You actually can see it from the road right before you get on the highway when you're coming off Erie Boulevard. It's right there. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. You can call them at 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 for the daycare. And you can go online at k-9kamp.com. For Canine Campground Dog Boarding, for longer-term care for your dog, if you want your dog to have their own cabin and you're going to be away for a few days, or maybe you're renovating the house, or you're taking the boat out, or you're moving your kid back to college and you just want the dog to have some attention. You're going to be out of the house for too many hours. You don't want the dog to be by themselves. Head to Canine Kampground. That is on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, just a minute or two from the daycare, and you will find the campground right there at 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse. You can call them at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. And you can go to kampground.com. We'll be back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with my Q&As with Fran Brown, the head coach of the Syracuse Orange football team, right after this, inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Much appreciation for Heritage Hill. Heritage Hill out in Pompey on 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, New York. You will find them out there in their awesome location out in our beautiful rolling hills of central and upstate New York. And you'll find them right by the airport in their newest location, right there at 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse. We're going to be there tonight. I'm very excited about this. We're going to be out there tonight. We are there every single month in our exclusive studio partnership that we have, Heritage Hill, with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We have the opportunity to go every single month to Heritage Hill North and bring the CNS North Stars to you, and it always means a lot to me to celebrate the community. And of course, we have been around the CNS North Stars for many years, so you can come out and see CNS every single month at Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, at our live shows. Tonight's live show on August 2nd at 6 p.m. we will be proudly featuring the boys and girls swimming teams, 6 o'clock tonight. So come out, grab some dinner. If you're of age and you want to get some drinks. As always, drink responsibly, and come hang out with us. Awesome food, awesome atmosphere, and a wonderful opportunity to get to know the student athletes and coaches in our community tonight at Heritage Hill North with CNS boys and girls swimming. We look forward to seeing you there starting at 6 p.m. tonight, August 2nd. At Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse. Here are my conversations with Fran Brown, the Syracuse Orange head football coach. We're going to start off with the culture that he started to build in the spring and what that's doing now, those cultural foundational pillars for the fall camp already. And this is what Fran had to say. Coach, when you talk about DART, and you mentioned that repeatedly, kind of driving that home, as far as building the culture and the environment, what are some of the foundational pillars that you think have been built through the spring that we're already going to be able to build on in the fall as you head into practice?
I mean, we like to say our foundation and like who we are outside of that, just our faith. You know, and like that's first and foremost with everything. Like that's our true foundation with everything we have, our faith. But then from there, our offensive line, we started to really, get a lot tougher. We started to work more. So like our O-line, we got some leaders on the offensive line now. We've been able to add Savion Washington to the offensive line. He's 6'8", 340, you know what I mean? And he's athletic, he can run. So we've been able to add him. I think Tank Wilson, Dion, I'm sorry, I call him Tank, but Dion has become more of a leader. He's like strong force. Our offensive and defensive line are truly our foundation. That's the bell cow. But we also did something called skull sessions all summer. Every Wednesday we would get together. There were different topics we talk about, and we would put that into our lives. So like that should be another foundation piece that we'll be able to fall back on. Guys, remember what we talked about? Imagination. You imagine what you want. Then it was self-value. After self-value, we had standard, and then there was discipline. And once you're able to do those things, you form a team. So we just go back to those. Imagination. What was it that you wanted to imagine? And make sure we paid attention to that. So like we just went through that: imagination, self-value, standard, discipline, and then we're a football team. We just got to continue to be strong as a team.
Mario. So that coming from Fran Brown talking about.
So I thought this girl was working out like crazy.
Okay. So apparently that's YouTube keeps playing afterwards. So, but yeah, so that I love those ads. But anywho, so talking to Fran Brown about the team and his take there on those foundational pillars, and he was talking about the additions to the offensive line and skull sessions and different things that they've been doing. And if that audio came in a little bit low on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, you can go and watch and listen to these directly as well. So I want to now go into Syracuse and Central New York, talking with Fran Brown about, I said, you've been here for a few months. What are your thoughts on Syracuse and Central New York? What are your takeaways about the community and just what you've learned from the community? And this is what Fran had to say. So we're going to get this one up here in just a second momentarily. What I'll go to is a few weeks to becoming the head coach. This is what Fran had to say about that. Fran, we're just a few weeks from you being a head coach for the first time ever on the field. Just what you can say about, you talk a lot about faith and that journey that you've had. When that moment comes to fruition and you're standing there on the sideline and you're finally a head coach of a program, just what's been going through you getting ready for that moment, being excited for your love for the game of football and appreciation for the journey?
I try not to really go into that moment. I try to play it every day and just be where I'm at, my feet are. I'll just be excited for the team. I'm looking to make sure we can win by 1 point. We walk away with the W. I don't know, I'm really kind of never do anything for me. It's more so for my family, my children, my last name. But I don't know, I don't really celebrate for me. I celebrate for the people I'm around. I think that when you always doing things for others and things that are about other people and seeing them happy, you get to be a part of it. It makes it bigger. Because now with me, you, her, everybody remembers that time we got to do it together. I just remember how you felt. I remember those things. Those are memories I'll never leave. But I'll be happy for my wife and kids, and getting a chance to do it, I guess. Something different, but I got personal goals that I want. That's just not one that I thought about of the first game. That's about the players. That's about the S. For me, that's for the alumni. So they get a chance to be excited on that Saturday night. Everything we do here is about the S. So, anything that I do, I just want to make sure that I give the S the opportunity of just being able to be where it belongs. The other night, I was literally, I came back up here and I went around those 3 statues and just reading the side of it and just going through it and just super thankful though. So I'm very, very thankful that I'm the head coach here. It means a lot. And to read Ernie Davis, which I read a lot of times, and Jim Brown and Floyd Little, and just to see those, it was, I don't know, it always gives you different chill. God chose me to do it. So I think that I have to do it the right way, and I'm still learning. I got a really good athletic director that I'm gonna ask him a lot of questions before. I'm gonna go ask Herm different questions, where should I be at, what should I do? But I'm gonna lean on the guys that've been there before and they've been with other guys that were first-time head coaches. So, I'll probably go lean with the athletic director so they can just focus, do this. This is why we hired you, things of that nature. I'm hopefully I won't be all nervous and start crying and stuff like that. So I don't think I will. I think I'm pretty tough, but be straight. Good question though.
That coming from Fran Brown once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on the reality that he is going to be, for the first time ever, not just at Syracuse, but ever, a head coach. And just what that moment means to him. And he talked about being selfless. He talked about, it's not about me. I'm excited for the team. It's going to be good for the guys. I'm going to be excited to see them out there. He's happy for his wife and kids of this moment. He said he has personal goals, but it's never really been about him. It's been about other people. And that when you make things about other people and not just you, you get to celebrate with everyone. You get to celebrate beyond yourself. And it's a bigger event, bigger opportunity, right? When you celebrate with more than one person and it's not just about you, then you get to really share life with people, which is important. And then I thought it was cool to talk about that. He said, I feel like God chose me to do this. Him and I have talked about faith from the beginning, really. And I appreciate that. It's always humbling and really good to hear someone else talk about their faith. And like Fran said, not doing it alone. I talk about my faith. I hear him talk about his, and I feel like, I'm not alone in sharing that stuff out in front and openly. And then to go on with the conversation and him to say, I went out to the statues. I went out to Ernie Davis and Jim Brown and Floyd Little statues, which are right there outside of the Ensley Center, kind of on the way to the Ensley Center, from Manly to the Ensley. And he said, I went out there and, spent time around them and this and that. And then he said, hopefully I'm not going to cry. He said, hopefully I'm not going to cry. He's like, I don't think I will, but just celebrating that moment, right? Celebrating this moment, but celebrating it as a family, as a Syracuse football family, celebrating with the alumni and celebrating with his family and bringing that all together, and that it's not just about him. I thought that was really cool to hear him say something like that, and good to hear something like that. So with that being said, I do want to get into the final piece here, which was Fran speaking about Syracuse and Central New York when I asked him a question here as we get closer and closer to the season about the community, and this is what he had to say. Fran, spending some time here. So let me go ahead and get this set here for us and get it up on the picture here so you can hear it. So this is what he had to say. Eyes that go beyond football. Fran, spending some time here, a few months now in Syracuse. I know you've been out in the community. I know your student athletes have been out in the community. Just what you can say about what you've learned about Syracuse and Central and Upstate New York and building those ties that go beyond football.
Good people, there's a really good people. They want to see a winning program. It's a need. They're in need for a winning program. I mean, that's all they talk to me about. And they love the youth. I think that all the adults here, everyone all over, it's all about the youth and being able to bring the youth up. And they want me to really recruit the area. That's important to everyone here to keep all the talent home, Coach. Make sure we're doing that. Continue to keep the talent home. And just make sure we take care of our communities, take care of the community. I think everyone's about the community. Everyone wants to help. So it's pretty much what I learned. I learned that they care about each other. They want a winning program. I think they're going to tell me the truth. So if they like what they see, they're going to tell me. And if they don't, they'll tell me they don't, which is what it is. I appreciate that.
Coming from Fran Brown saying, like, hey, he wants to, again, driving home, he wants to win for the alumni. The community want a winning program, and they want him to recruit locally. They want him to keep the kids that are local. And, I mean, things that I've been banging home the drum about and honestly being ridiculed by people on social media and laughed at by some people for saying the exact same things that your head coach is saying now. Recruit locally, be good to the alumni. Keep that bridge secure. I've said those things over and over again and gotten some hate mail for it, but now your head coach is saying it, so let's see how you walk that back. But, I mean, it's common sense. If you have talent, and the thing is, well, Dan, there's no talent in New York. There, people believe that stupid statement that was made up. And there's no talent in New York, okay, but I've seen these guys go to BC, go to Alabama, go to UCF, go to the Big Ten, go to Indiana, right? They're being recruited by Rutgers and Indiana and BC and Pitt, go to Pitt. Recruited by Pitt, recruited by UConn, recruited by Nick Saban in Alabama, recruited by UCF, recruited by Colorado State, recruited by Buffalo, recruited by New Mexico State. They're Division I FBS student athletes. So I don't want to hear it no more. I just don't want to hear it. And they're like, well, the guys aren't big enough, they aren't tall enough. And then look at the guys that Fran's recruited and how big they are. So, I mean, this, again, if you believe what people feed you and don't do your research, you may succumb to some lies. And I know there's talent. I put my feet on the ground. I don't want to say boots on the ground. I don't want to disrespect the military. I put my feet on the ground. And I talk to these schools. I've spoken with people from Aquinas Institute in Rochester. I've spoken with coaches that are Syracuse alumni that are in upstate New York. Like Andre Fontanet. I have spoken with Antoine Bailey, who's coaching. I have spent time with West Genesee and CNS and Beeville and Liverpool and CBA. So whatever people are being told, if you believe it, hey, but I'm actually there. It's just like when people would say to me, are the Jaguars going to leave Jacksonville? I think the Jaguars are going to leave Jacksonville. Hey, I saw that there's, a team that might relocate. It's probably Jacksonville. Hey, they're probably going to go overseas to Europe. And I'm sitting here going like, I have spent over a decade in the city of Jacksonville. I have been in Duval County. I have covered numerous games. I have seen all the work that Shad Khan has put into the stadium, has put into the area around the stadium, how they've changed the highways, how they're building apartments, how they're building hotels, how they built Daly's Place, which allows you to have all these events there beyond the stadium and kind of expands the stadium. I've seen the video boards come in. I've seen the changes in the locker room and in the look of a bunch of things. The hallway is the same, but what the hallway has here and there has changed. When you're physically somewhere and you look at stories that are being told, it's like, well, these stories are being told, but I'm physically here. I'm actually here. Right? And that's how you really know the truth of something, is when you're like actually there. They can tell you, anything can put a filter on it now. And you could say that this is this and this is that. But when you're actually there, when you're around the people, when you sit with the people and you can gauge that and you're in the room with them and you get their vibes. I'm a person that I can feel. I can feel if you're being genuine. I can feel if there's something off. I could just feel that. So if you're sitting next to me as opposed to me, and sometimes I can watch it and see it, but if you're sitting next to me, it's going to be really hard for you to put some BS out there when you're right in front of me. And I felt it over Zoom, for goodness sakes. So when you're in this community and you're around the student athletes, when you say there's no talent in the state of New York and there's no talent in upstate New York and nobody's good enough, why are you so vehemently holding on to that point? Like you're like being evil about it. You're being mean about it. You're personally attacking people. And I said, if I'm going to die on the mountain of supporting the kids of my community, then I'm going to die on that mountain. Why would I not support the kids of Central and Upstate New York? Those are kids like me. Did people think I was going to make it, that I was going to make it out of Syracuse, New York and have an international show? That I was going to be able to reach people all over the country and outside of the country? That I was going to have my own business? That I was going to come back here to build it from the grassroots? That I was going to be able to travel all over the place and build relationships with people all over and have thousands upon thousands of people on the show and work with companies in Florida and in North Carolina and not just in the state of New York? That the ties that I built in Pennsylvania and Florida are still there. The ties that I built in different things I did in Syracuse are still there. That ideas that I was, thinking about saying maybe this could work are now 8 years in and 3 years in. And I didn't need other people to believe in me. I had to believe in myself. You got to bet on yourself. So the fact that we have a head coach in Syracuse, in my hometown, that's like, I want to recruit locally and I want to be good to the alumni, go back and watch a decade of shows. Just go back and watch Rob Drummond and I. If you watch nothing else, just watch Rob and I talk and how we consistently say the same thing over and over again, no matter who the coach was. So the fact that there is a head coach at Syracuse in Fran Brown that appreciates the alumni, wants them to come around, wants them to be a part of the program, wants them to feel loved, wants them to feel like they can, come back and be in the place that they built. And he wants to recruit the local community and scour the community for the talent that he believes can play at this level at Syracuse. Music to my ears. So you just heard that from him again in our conversation. My Q&As with Fran Brown. All of this is available on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. That's youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll be able to connect with us right there. at any time, 24/7, 365 on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. For those of you that maybe weren't on the show yesterday, we had a massive announcement, a huge announcement. And I am so honored and so privileged. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora has expanded partnership-wise into North Carolina. You know that for over a decade, we've covered East Carolina Pirates. We've covered the UNC Tar Heels, the Duke Blue Devils, the NC State Wolfpack, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and add into that the last couple of years, the UNC Charlotte 49ers. So we have been ingrained in, try to dig some roots there in North Carolina. And now Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora has their first partnership in North Carolina, and that is with the wonderful people at Brooklyn Pickle in Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines. And here's a message about our partnership with Brooklyn Pickle, Pinehurst, North Carolina.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. That message coming from the Brooklyn Pickle at Pinehurst, a proud partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and our second North Carolina business that we work with here with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, Superpowered Pop, my entertainment show with TV and movie talk, Marvel, DC, so on and so forth, where illustrators, writers, actors, and actresses, and the former Marvel CEO of Marvel Entertainment have been. You know that Superpowered Pop is proudly partnered with PBKW, Parker Banner, Kent, and Wayne Comics and Games, your one-stop shop for your comic book and gaming needs right there in Cornelius, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. So shout out to them as we officially start year 2 on August 1st, yesterday. So a big time shout out to PBKW. And on August 1st, fittingly, we have our Wake Up Call North Carolina partner in Brooklyn Pickle in Pinehurst. Go and visit them on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, in the Pinehurst community. Brooklyn Pickle, folks. You might have had sandwiches before, but you ain't never had a sandwich like Brooklyn Pickle makes a sandwich. And the one named after Brooklyn Pickle, I ate it yesterday, is the BP. Go and get the BP today. The Brooklyn Pickle, so many great sandwiches, and of course they have soups and so much more. Feet to the fire, I'm telling you to get the Brooklyn Pickle sandwich, named after, the one that's named after the restaurant, and to get a turkey sandwich. Turkey, lettuce, provolone, little bit of mayonnaise. Fantastic. Big time thanks to all of you watching and listening here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and of course on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us all around the world, including down in North Carolina. And so big time shout out to those of you also that find us on our wonderful apps that you can get: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure you click follow, subscribe, whatever the verbiage is on each of these channels so that you never miss a show again. And a big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Heritage Hill Brewhouse, Heritage Hill North, where we will be tonight on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse to celebrate CNS North Stars boys and girls swimming at 6 p.m. Come out for dinner and watch our show. A little dinner and a show on a Friday night. Nothing wrong with that. Carvel DeWitt as well. Carvel DeWitt Appreciate them so very much. I want to say it twice. Maybe I should say it a third time. Carvel DeWitt. They're our longest standing partner, and I have my own sundae there called the DT Dolphin. Go and try it today. Perfect time to try it, too, because it's been super hot outside. The Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Brian's Landing, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, Great Lakes, Honda City, Mother's Cupboard, Servomation, Pizza Man, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. You'll find the Bobcats every single month in what we call the Bobcat Buzz. The Bobcats with us for men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse with 2 awesome locations. This truly unique collegiate experience gives you the opportunity to go to college for the first time or return to college to get your degree. And they also have the awesome opportunity in the USCAA outside of the NCAA to offer opportunities for you to play on teams if you have eligibility left. So you could be, 26, 27, 28 years old, maybe you got a year or 2 of eligibility left. You have the opportunity to potentially get on one of these Bryan and Stratton College teams here in Syracuse, New York. They have 2 awesome campuses, one on James Street in Syracuse, the other right off of Route 57 in Liverpool, across the street from Avicoli's. You can find all of their content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com on the homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. With our specials airing each month, Moments with Marshall featuring Athletics Director Gene Marshall of Binghamton University and the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories. All of the content is located on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton University playlist. You'll also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning in, as always, around the country and the world. Of course, right here in the great state of New York and in North Carolina, where we have Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst, down in Florida, where we've made a second home for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, all around the country and the world. Inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Thanks to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. The top dog of the week are construction workers all over the world. Big time thanks for those of you doing good work with a good heart. Top dog of the week from Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And my Q&As with Fran Brown as he gets just a few weeks away from being a head coach on the sideline for the first time ever. And of course, inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, big time thanks to our exclusive studio partner, Heritage Hill. We will see you at Heritage Hill North tonight, 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, right down the road from Cicero North Syracuse High School. We'll be featuring the CNS North Stars boys and girls swimming team. Come out and see us tonight, grab some dinner, and enjoy an awesome show with the CNS boys and girls swimming teams that'll be with us at Heritage Hill North at 6 p.m. tonight, August 2nd. We'll see you there at Sweetheart Corner. And in the meantime, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Have a wonderful